Hello and welcome to Project
L405.
Today we are going to do a little bit of maintenance on this car as we're bringing it together. We've got the windows done, control arm done. I think we did something else. I know we need to still do the ace lines, but forget all that. We're focusing on oil change. Oil changes are critical. I'll end up rattling on and on and on why it's so important. So Eric's here to tell you the basics of why you need to change your oil every 5,000 miles or less. And 3, 2, 1, go, Eric.
So everybody knows the 5 liters is pretty problematic when it comes to all the timing issues and that. They've basically tracked it down to know that it's an oiling issue. The factory interval oil changes are a little bit high for what we like to think, so we try and do it every 5,000 miles with a full synthetic set. Factory filter, new drain plug, full kit available here.
What are we getting in the kit? You said factory filter, we've seen these before.
New drain plug, not that you're gonna need it, but it's nice to have in case the other one's rounded off, a little knackered.
And it's got this little rubber washer on here which keeps the oil in the car. I like that.
And then 8 quarts of fully synthetic fluid is gonna come in the kit for you. It has to be synthetic for these trucks.
Why didn't you balance all 8 quarts on the hood?
I didn't want it to cave in. We don't know about this truck yet, we're still learning.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get it up in the air, show you how to pull off the skid plate and move from there. Roll the intro.
So now that the truck's up in the air, first thing we're gonna do is there are 4 little plastic screws on there that hold the front vanity cover on. You have to take that off to access. There's 2 screws that hold the front undershield on. In regards to this vanity cover, we recommend if you're taking this truck off-road, remove this before you even go off-road because the tow hook is directly behind it and you don't want the front of the truck to be buried in the mud and then have to get at these screws to take it off. Now that you have these 4 screws off, you see it's dangling a little bit here. There are the plastic tabs on the inside of this cover that hold it to the bumper assembly. They're a little tricky, but you're not gonna break it, hopefully. You're gonna basically get your hand behind here, get your hand under here, and leverage it up and out. And it'll pop right back for you. And that comes right off.
Next up is the skid plate. It's from here to here. This particular one I think has been on and off a couple times and a few of the clips have snapped. The hardware's a little mismatched, so I'm thinking this was a Jiffy Lube job instead of a genuine, take it to the dealer job. You're just gonna have to climb under here and find all of the bolts. They are 15 or 17s, best of my memory, but don't forget the 2 up here or else you won't be able to get the plate off. And there's 2 back here we're gonna loosen up so we can slide it backwards, and that way it'll kind of hold the plate while you're working on it. Because more than likely you're just up on some ramps in the driveway. Hyperspeed.
All right, so now that we've got the plate off, we're gonna access the drain plug. It's right on the front of the cover down here. You can see right behind this line, whatever that goes to, and it's a 13 mil. So we got the 13 wrench. We're gonna get it on there. We're gonna loosen it just a little bit. Oh, see that broke kind of loose? That's nice. Usually it doesn't come off like that. So we've got the oil catcher here. Mostly when you take it to the factory somewhere, they're gonna have the vacuum system to do it. We have one of those here. We're not using the vacuum system because chances are most of you watching at home don't have the vacuum. So we're doing it the way that you would do it in order to show you the proper way. So now that I've got this broken off, I'm gonna slowly loosen it off and I'm gonna go real slow. You notice I took off my nice coat because I'm probably about to eat oil. All right, so you can see it's basically just slowed down to a drip now. Got my arm cleaned off, new glove on. I'm gonna go ahead and put the oil change plug back in here. You can see it's got the little rubber gasket on there. that O-ring. You're gonna take it, lubricate it with a little bit of oil before you put it back on. I'm gonna clean this up, put a little brake clean on it. We're gonna put the skid plate back on, put the front vanity plate back on, lower the truck, and then we'll see up top when we get to the filter.
All right, up top here, the oil filter. You wanna bring it in, boss? The oil filter housing is here. It is made of plastic. Don't get crazy. It's a 90 mil socket. We have these. You can get them with the kit, or if you're real strong like Eric, you can probably turn it. I'm not able to do that. So what we're gonna do is disconnect the air box from this main intake support. We're gonna disconnect it here, there, and pretty much everywhere. We're gonna get this out of the way, and I'll show you how to do it with an old-fashioned oil filter strap. Hyperspeed again. All right, with the air box disconnected, there's a little clip here on the main intake for the motor. Just a straight blade screwdriver will get that off. And on the driver's side, there's a plastic clip. You want to be very careful. It's a pinch clip, but it's probably never been off. So you want to wiggle that gently, use 2 hands. If you force it, you will either break this or you'll break the hose and life will be bad. Really the easiest thing to do is just get the 90 mil socket. You can take it all apart, but hey, you gotta get your oil changed and you don't happen to have one of those. That's why we're going the long road. Everything in here is real crystal clean, so I'm not worried about it. You can set that off to the side, and we're going to move on to the filter. Again, plenty of room now, so if you're big and strong, you can get it off. Or if you're a weakling like me, we're gonna use one of these filter wrenches. I'll bring the camera and you can see how it works. We're gonna get our filter strap, work it around. Just be careful on that little intake pipe there. It just grabs it, get the socket on or the ratchet on. And it just tightens up. We're gonna be gentle. As it gets tight, come on. There it goes. I can see it moving. There's a lot of pressure on that. Boom. It is free. I'll be able to spin this off by hand now. Next up, we'll show you how to pre-lube the filter and install it.
All right, you see, we got the oil filter out. It's definitely highly recommend getting that extra socket for it because doing it by hand is not that much fun. Once you get it out, you can see how nasty it is. It smells awful. You can take it, just pinch it, and it pops right free. You can see there's the clip on the bottom of the oil filter there, and the bottom of that. Put your new one in, clean up the housing, tighten it down, you're good to go.
Okay, in your oil filter, you will see a large O-ring and you're gonna wonder what the heck that is for. We're going to replace it. I got a feeling the guy that did this, the same Jiffy Lube that may or may not have broken all the bolts on the skid plate, didn't take the time to replace the O-ring sitting here. So we're gonna pop that off. We're gonna lube up this new O-ring and we're gonna set it in place. Everybody's got their O-ring removal tool. All right, done with that. There's a little bit of oil down here at the bottom for me. I appreciate it. Right in the filter housing, get that lubed up nice. Throw it on. Boom. Next up, since my hands are all gooped up, I'm also going to lube the 2 O-rings on the filter itself. That way it just slides beautifully into the, just like that, it would slide into the oil filter housing, no problems. Snap this together like so. We are good to go. One more step. All right, this is not in the normal process. A lot of people don't bother. I'm maybe just an old school guy. Don't say a word, Eric. I like to just get the oil filter damp. That way when it starts up, it's not a completely dry filter. and we're immediately moving fluid into the motor. So it's nice, soaks in, and our filter's ready to go. Just a little dab. If you try to overfill it, it's just gonna pour oil down into the motor. But there we go. Now you can install, and we'll fill this truck up. Okay, the last thing to do is fill the vehicle with oil. It takes 8 quarts, maybe a little over. So you want to find your oil cap. It is right here. I highly recommend you use a funnel. We're going to fill this up with 8 quarts. I'm going to bolt everything back together, and then Eric's going to show you how to check the oil. Eric, you got that oil?
Do you want these 2 jugs?
What am I going to do with him?
All right, so the oil is full. We have everything back together, caps on, everything's tightened down. We're gonna check the level. So you're gonna wanna not start the car, because once you start the car, you have to wait 10 minutes to be able to do it again. That'll reset the computer on it. So without your foot on the brake, hit the start stop button. It's gonna turn all the things on, but not the engine. Because again, we don't wanna engage the engine. You're gonna keep hitting OK on the screen until everything cycles through here. It's gonna ask you, hood's open, doors open. Okay, all the air conditioning, everything's gonna want to kick on. All right, so we got the main screen now. Pop it down to service menu, hit OK. Get it down to oil level, hit OK. And you can see that we are at the max engine level, OK. And our oil change is complete.
There you have it. Oil change done. We did a few things the hard way. You got the vacuum, your life is great. And most importantly, what tool?
90 mil wrench.
Yeah, we have them on the site in these oil kits. Anything else to add, Eric?
Make sure you do it every 5,000 miles as recommended, so those little ports don't get jammed up. And instead of an oil change on a Saturday, you'll be doing the whole motor.
All right, on that very grim note, we'll see you guys on the next one.